Hey everyone, it's Heather with Her Wellbeing, Ayurveda, and Yoga. And in this video, I'd like to share with you all about our new moon in Scorpio. The new moon is the beginning of the lunar cycle. And this is when physical and emotional energy can be low, and a time to honor that. It is an introspective time for nourishing self-care practices, many of which I will share with you today. And the new moon is associated with menstruation. New moon vibes. As the beginning of the lunar month, it is a time of new beginnings. So this can be an ideal time to connect with your feelings and intuition, set intention for the month ahead. You can rest, relax, you can journal, draw, dream, however you want to drop into this vibe and tune in. For yoga, you might lean towards gentle, restorative, or yin yoga styles. And in terms of diet, you might focus on a simple cleansing diet. And in general, it's not a great time for a cleanse. Usually we might do that around the full moon, as long as we're not menstruating at that time. This month, the focus is on Scorpio. And Scorpio is a water sign, if you're not familiar. In Vedic astrology, it's associated with the red planet Mars and the Pitta dosha. This is fiery energy, red fiery energy. And it is associated with the Sacral Chakra, or Swadhisthana. That is the second chakra that is just below the belly button in the subtle body anatomy. And this is our center of creativity, of sensuality, sexuality. And it is associated with the 8th house of life and rebirth. Mars is seen as a malefic because it can be a destructive force, but it also has a capacity for great transformation or healing. And in general, the theme is bringing to light what is hidden, unknown, a mystery, to bring forth transformational experiences and deep emotional and spiritual journeys. So this new moon has much to offer us in Scorpio. For Scorpios, their strengths are that they are devoted, they are pleasure, they can be pleasure givers. They can experience deep feelings and be highly intuitive, deeply spiritual, with a deep healing capacity and also a strong instinctual power. And in a new moon for Scorpio, we may also feel this boost in this area. Some downsides includes a critical nature, also being possessive, jealous, vengeful, controlling, punishing, and very, very sensitive. And that can be a good thing or not. And so you may feel very sensitive with a Scorpio new moon, especially. And we can also take things more personally too. In terms of opportunity, so many opportunities for Scorpio to do deep, deep work. These things that we set aside that we may not think about on a day-to-day basis may come forth on a Scorpio lunar event. So the opportunity or the invitation can be to let your guard down and to do so long enough to open your heart so that you can see what's there. And you might want to protect your hypersensitive soul, yes, but what from? So these are good questions to think about. Scorpios can be very guarded, very secretive, and sensitive. So to spend some time thinking about what is the message in the bottle there. And in terms of threats, what I mean when we talk about threats is how, an opportunity is to step forward on the soul's journey, and a threat can be, we need a better word for this, can be kind of some steps back. And neither one is valued more than the other. I think in some way they both move us forward on the soul's journey. So there's no judgment around steps forward or step back. You're still on the path, your personal path. But in this case, for new moon in Scorpio, Scorpios can play the aggressor. They can also play the victim. So get a sense of, if you're role playing one or the other. There is an invitation to either abuse power or to give it away. And is there a way to find a middle path? Can we choose neither and take the middle way? So we'll talk a little bit about the cosmic body, which reflects the human body. Scorpio relates to the reproductive system. So this is a good time to give yourself some extra TLC, especially during the menstrual cycle, and especially the period before your period, as this can be seen as a very sensitive time. And like I said, it usually lines up with, sometimes it can, I shouldn't say usually, sometimes it can line up with the new moon. Not always. That doesn't always happen. It also, the urinary system, it's important to stay hydrated to avoid UTIs, and to avoid overdoing alcohol or caffeine that can stress the urinary system, but also the nervous system and the immune system. Also, the large intestines. This is the colon. This is a very sensitive place. It's known as part of our inner skin, where we're absorbing nutrients from our foods. And it's also a vulnerable place to toxins, and also over acidic foods and beverages that can aggravate the colon. Choose a calmer cuisine and establish regular bathroom habits. In terms of yoga, the theme for Scorpio is balance. Again, to find that middle path. Cultivate balance with cool, grounded earth energy to find a middle path without resorting to extremes. Nourish the sacral chakra to strengthen the connection with your gut feelings and your heart. Here are a list of some yoga postures that I go through in the Scorpio Yoga Flow for new moon. So check out my YouTube channel for the latest video on that. There is a link on my blog at the Her Wellbeing blog to watch new moon yoga flows. And then in terms of pranayama, we're working with Anulom Vilom. And this is alternate nostril breathing with internal breath retention as you switch nostrils. And it's up to you how long you hold, even if you hold at all. The main thing is to settle into something that feels rather comfortable. You can also do Nadi Shodhana, which is alternate nostril breathing without breath retention. The breath retention is a way to break patterns of thinking that may be negative or toxic or too extreme. So really what we're working on is dissolving old thinking habits and opening some space for new ones to form. In terms of mantra, I always include mantra meditation, is the seed or bija sound of Vam. Vam. It's V-A-M, pronounced VUM. And this will stimulate energy flow through the sacral or Swadhisthana chakra. So that's something for you to play. These are all things to play with as you're approaching a new moon yoga flow. And honestly, you can just tap into intuition and do what feels right for that moment. So now moving on to a little bit of visualization and journaling. If you don't have a journal or some paper and pen handy, you might take a moment to gather some supplies. We'll settle in, do a little visualization. And as you get settled, maybe find a comfortable shape for this short guided meditation. The new moon is a dark moon, so you may look up into the heavens and see the dark moon or not see her at all, knowing that she is there, but that she is dark. And that can be a reflection of our mood or energy or state of mind. But taking the time to visualize her in the sky and attuning to that energy. This is Soma energy, as it's known in Ayurveda, the lunar energy that is cooling and soothing and very nourishing, maternal. So in this dark phase, we can still receive that power. It is, it is a more internal power, if you will. So this is looking inward towards ourselves, towards our own minds. And so you're welcome to keep this image, this visual of the dark moon in the sky as we turn our attention to a few journal prompts here. The Scorpio New Moon may have these questions for you, and you don't necessarily have to answer them. Maybe they are just triggering inspiration for another line of thinking that feels more instinctual for you. So don't worry about straying off into your own thoughts. But if you're not sure what to consider this. What hidden emotions need to come forward? What hidden emotions, hidden feelings are tugging at you that may need more of your attention? So just think about that. Just notice, observe what emotions are getting your attention lately and why. Why do you think they are there? And what are some measured ways that you can digest and transform these emotions? So what is the utility behind their message? Emotions usually don't happen disconnected from purpose. Usually they are attached to a thought. And so exploring our emotions is also an invitation to explore our thoughts in this very non-judgmental space where we can try to understand the message inherent in those emotions. And what message needs to come to the light? What needs to come out of the shadows for us to take a look at in this very compassionate way? And how can you care for yourself in a very compassionate way as you're exploring these emotions, feelings, and thoughts? So feel free to jot down a few things. If you want, you can just write down some keywords. The invitation is to come back to these words at the next lunar phase, which is the full moon. So this is we're starting the lunar cycle with this new moon, and we'll kind of reassess where we're at with the full moon. So you might even set an intention or affirmation as you move into this new cycle. What do you want from this new phase as we approach the full moon? Okay, moving on to herbal medicine, one of my favorites. So there are many wonderful herbs that are associated with Scorpio. I'll bring your attention to a blessed thistle first. This is a very bitter herb. So it may not taste very good, and we don't take large amounts of it, but it can be helpful when blended in with other herbs in a tea to help detoxify. And this is important for Scorpios because they can tend towards the extremes, maybe overdo it a little bit, either with food or drink, or whatever, tends to be more of, their comfort zone. So a wonderful detoxifying herb that also happens to nourish the nervous system. So remember, we're not taking blessed thistle in really large amounts. Usually it's sprinkled into a tea blend, and I do have some blends to share for you so you have more of a balanced tea. Otherwise, it will be very bitter, and that can not be a great experience. And it can also, if we detoxify really strongly, we can have side effects like headaches and rashes and things like that. So bitter herbs are meant to be taken in moderation. And then I'll bring your attention to stinging nettle, of course. You think of the sting of the Scorpio. The nettle has its own stingers when they are harvested fresh. It's very common to have these, to develop these welts on the skin. So we usually use gloves to harvest stinging nettle. But when it's made into a tea or when it's cooked into food, it loses its sting and becomes this beautiful nutritive herb. It's extremely high in vitamins and minerals. And it's very drying. It's this very drying herb that helps to counteract Scorpio's watery nature. And then finally, there's passionflower. Passionflower is a wonderful nervine. That is an herb that calms the nervous system. And it can help you tune into new moon vibes to help calm and soothe frayed nerves, turn the volume down on really intense emotions so you can look at them and digest them and transform them. So emotions are like nourishment or food. We're meant to take them in, digest them, eliminate what we no longer need so that we can move on. All right, and then here are some herbal tonics that I find helpful. Mountain Rose's Peace Tea has chamomile and passion flower. That's a really lovely tea. Their Vita Blend tea has nettle in it, along with clover and oat straw. The clover, again, is really, this is a Vita Blend because these are really high vitamin-rich herbs, mineral-rich herbs, including oat straws, very calming, strengthening, soothing, and also more moistening. So it balances that drying effect of the nettle. And then finally, Mellow Mind CCFT. CCF stands for cumin or coriander, cumin, fennel, 3 different seeds that Ayurveda uses for balanced digestion and also detoxification. And then it's blended with chamomile, gotu kola, and passion flower. Now, this is a very calming, almost sedating tea, so it's nice to work into a bedtime ritual. All really nice blends. And then on the blog, you'll see that I do have links. I do have partner links to both Mountain Rose and Banyan Botanicals if you're interested in purchasing these to try for yourself. A few resources available to you. You may reach out to me for a birth chart consultation if you're curious about what your Ayurvedic constitution looks like in your birth chart. What are your most important planetary relationships, or which ones do you struggle with the most? And where are you in your spiritual path or soul's journey? So I love taking a look at the chart to really take a glimpse of not just your constitution, but what planets are also bringing some interesting things your way. You can download my moon calendar and journal. That's a free download that you can find on the blog as well. You can track full and new moons. You can track your self-care rituals, learn more about retrograde, zodiac signs, and more. There are journal pages in there and self-care worksheets. I had a lot of fun putting this together, and so that is a free download for you if you'd like to check that out. And then my online community is in Her Balance. And this is all about building the holistic lifestyle that supports balanced energy so that you can live an authentic and unapologetic, authentic life. And it's a self-paced journey through all things Ayurveda lifestyle, including yoga with practitioner support from me. So it's a great way for you to learn, and also for us to interact as you're learning. You're welcome to get in touch with me at herwellbeing.com. Visit my blog page at herwellbeing.com. And you can even book a free discovery call with me while you're there. A little bit about me. I am a certified Ayurvedic practitioner and experienced yoga teacher. I love connecting the dots of Ayurveda and yoga for women who are interested in unlocking their energy potential. And we work specifically with digestive health and also reproductive health for overall well-being. Thank you so much for listening. I wish you a beautiful new moon, and I'll see you next time. Take care.